Look, you want to know something that's crazy? And I don't think most people even want to admit it. Gen Z could be the first generation in history that actually ends up poorer than the previous generation. Their parents, right? Not richer, not climbing the ladder, poor. Like the previous generation's main point of having kids is to provide and set us up for a better future than what they had coming up, right? At least that's how I feel. I feel like the way my mom grew up, my childhood was a little bit better than how she was. And my age now at 23 is way better than how her life was at 23. And that's exactly what I want for my future kids. Okay. I don't want them to grow up in the same environment that I did. And they should be like way farther than I am when they're 23. Okay. So, I mean, you're probably already feeling it, right? You're working hard. You're more educated, you're more connected, but yet somehow still broke. Which is crazy because we still get called the lazy generation. But yet we're out here working more hours than these boomers, but yet we're still making less, in comparison to what they could buy actually at that time. And it's not just you or me or anybody growing up in this generation. The system is stacked against us. Wages simply just haven't kept up. The prices are insane. Debt's crushing. And the numbers and the math they don't lie. Okay, and here's the thing. If you don't learn this new playbook, the new rules of this new game, you're going to stay trapped in the cycle. Period. Like, that's it, But if you do learn it, you can flip the script. We can change the trajectory of our life, not how they gave it to us, how it was set up for us, but we can actually take advantage of it. And that's exactly what I want to talk about in this video. Why Gen Z, why we're set up to be the poorest generation, and the exact steps that you can take to avoid it. Okay, so let's just start with what's keeping Gen Z broke to begin with. Number one, we got stagnant wages. Okay. In the last 40 years, worker productivity has exploded. We're producing more, creating more, working faster, hustling harder, but the real wages adjusted for inflation are flat. And it's practically unchanged since the 70s. Like, think about that. Your parents, grandparents, even, could support a family of 4, buy a house, live comfortably on one income. Most likely grandparents, right? And 2 cars, all that stuff, right? And then they added the 2 incomes. So that's how like our parents' generation kind of got away, right? You had the 2-parent income. And that's how millennials kind of made it. But you think about today, like even 2 incomes often isn't even enough, right? It feels like you're sprinting on this treadmill, sweating, pushing, grinding, but the scenery just never changes. And that's the stagnant wages that are put in place. Number 2, inflation is simply literally just burning our paychecks alive. They're eating it alive in real time. Now it seems like they upped the speed on it. It wasn't as if wages being flat wasn't enough, but on top of it, here comes the inflation, the silent killer. Okay, so your grandparents could literally buy groceries for $20, and today, same cart is going to cost $100, right? The eggs, they used to be 80 cents a dozen. Now, they're up there $4 or $5. And it's the hidden tax that nobody even talks about. Inflation takes that little money that you do have and makes it worth less every single year, right? So when you feel like your paycheck doesn't stretch like it used to, you're not crazy, because it literally doesn't. Number 3 is just the cost of living simply exploding. Okay. And here's where we're getting to twisting that knife. Okay. Housing, healthcare, education, right? The three things that you can't avoid are skyrocketing. A house that used to cost 2 to 3 years of someone's income, today, try 7 to 10 years of income to get that house. Okay? Healthcare has gone up crazy. Like, insurance premiums have gone up 212% since the year 2000. And then education, I mean, the average student loan balance is $37,000. And that's just the average, right? And, it used to be such a big flex in trying to get a college education. And now it's kind of like the standard. And I don't even know if the college route is right anymore, right? Then you add on all the lifestyle essentials. You need internet, your smartphone, streaming subscriptions, stuff that the previous generations didn't have to budget for, and your cost of living is higher than any generation before us, really. Number 4, you have the student debt trap. So coming back to this, let's really get into it with student loans. Okay. So boomers could pay for college with a part-time job and a summer gig. Gen Z, we're working 2 jobs, still buried in debt. Okay. And student loans aren't just numbers. They're compound interest that's working against you. So you borrow $30,000, but you're really paying $50,000 when you have these high interest, loans, and they spread them out so far. Okay. I know my cousin is in college and they spread it out for like 10 years and she's going to have to pay like $500 a month for the next 10 years. What? It's insane, because all that, it's delaying you. One, if you get to the point where you can pay it off, it delays you from buying a house, starting your own like business, even starting a family. It's keeping us stuck longer, right? So why do we have it, Gen Z, harder than any other generation? Okay. So with asset inflation, you got boomers that are buying these houses for dirt cheap. Today, these same houses are worth $500,000, sometimes $1 million, and they didn't just live in their house. Their house made them rich. And being in Gen Z, we're trying to buy in now, and we're at the peak of this bubble. Also, you got to consider the timing disadvantage. Okay. So I don't even think Gen Z is old enough to really remember the Great Recession in 2008, right? During that time, I was like 7, 8 years old. Okay. So during that time, I have no like real remembrance of it. Then we get the pandemic. You get that whole spiel. Now, during that time, I was graduating high school. So I kind of, got a glimpse of it. But the real kicker to learn would have been from the 2008 crash. And now we're in such a high inflated mess from that 2008 when they first turned on the money printer to the pandemic when it really got jumping. They put the money printer on overdrive. We don't even have an even playing field. We literally got spawned into this chaos. Then you got to think about the wealth concentration. Okay, so boomers hold about 70% of the total US wealth. Now, Gen Z, we're only holding under 5%. Like, think about that, 5%. We're competing with people that already own everything. Okay? Then you think about pensions. Pensions were a big thing back in the day, right? Grandparents had guaranteed retirement income. Us, we've got a 401k if we're lucky, and then a go figure it out yourself retirement plan. Okay? Don't count on welfare, Social Security to be there for when we retire, right? Because they were saying it was going to fail when my mom was a kid. So obviously when I'm a kid, they were saying the same thing, and it's not going to be there. Just, we're not planning on it. And then take a look at the gig economy BS that's going on. Right? These jobs that are marketed as like flexible are really just unstable, right? Get no benefits, no security, no safety net. That's not freedom, that's risk, right? And these jobs, like when you think of like DoorDash, or you can be like an Amazon Flex driver, you can only do these during prime time hours, right? And it's not like something that you could actually live off of. And then they kind of set you up to where you don't get any of like the real benefits of being a worker, a W-2 worker. And I just think the whole gig economy as a whole just it is BS. So then, top everything off, let's talk about the trap that's within the trap. Meaning all the little, lifestyle creeps that pop up and the credit card stuff that comes into play, right? Because I don't think enough people talk about how lifestyle creep affects a lot of people, right? Because it's a trap that nobody talks about, right? You get a raise, what do? You upgrade, you treat yourself. You might get a better car, better apartment, more eating out, more Amazon boxes coming in, right? And then suddenly that raise, it doesn't feel like a raise, right? Sure, you're living nicer, but I mean, you're not wealthier. You're literally just treading water at a fancier level, right? And that's how lifestyle creep keeps you broke, right? Because you think that, oh man, if I could just make an extra $1,000 a month, this would help me in so many ways. But what a lot of people find themselves doing, they make that $1,000 in a month, and yet they spend it on more BS to add to the BS that they were already spending on. Okay? And then add credit cards into the mix. Because the credit card debt spiral, it's honestly insane. And there's just so much of it going on now. Like you see it all the time, these buy now, pay laters. Sounds great, right? Until that interest hits. And then suddenly, I'm seeing things where even like going out to eat, they got these buy now, pay laters. So suddenly that $50 dinner is turned into a $300 balance if you keep making only minimum payments on it, And it's crazy because compound interest can work for you when you invest. But when you're in debt, it's literally working against you. So we all know compound interest, probably heard it, is the eighth wonder of the world, right? That's the key to retirement. And that inverted curve can also go the wrong way. It's not going up. It's taking you down rapidly. It's like a snowball rolling downhill. It's crushing you as it grows and grows and grows. And then that's why they set up these minimum payments, because that's the real trap. They keep you in debt forever. And then of course we have social media and things you see online that it simply isn't real. Like seriously, is Miami seriously the goal? Like I just see so many like lifestyle people posting, on Miami, teaching, oh yeah, I got rich doing this and that. And then you just see influencers on influencers, just every time you scroll, flexing cars, new clothes, jewelry, trips, apartments. It does something psychologically to our brains, thinking that we have to keep up with this. And you get so caught up, which is why I got off Instagram in the first place, because I would see it all the time. I'd see these rich Miami guys, and not to hate on anyone, but majority of the time, it's just them trying to promote a course, on how they made money. But it's really just the course that they're making money off of, saying that they made money elsewhere, like it's a toxic environment all around, which is why I just got off of it. On social media, Instagram, anything, you can't even realize that they're either faking it, renting it, or simply just putting themselves into debt, like even further for themselves, just to flex on the gram, you know. But meanwhile, you're spending money that you don't have in order to live to a lifestyle that isn't even real, right? Half these guys are just flexing on social media to look cool, to get some likes. They're drowning in debt themselves, and it does something psychologically to us. Okay. Now, I'm not here to complain. I'm not here to blame. I know it sounds a whole bunch of doom and gloom, but let's actually talk about that the way of getting out of this, right? So I came up with, I guess you call it a playbook, right? What can we do to set ourselves up? Because no matter which way you look at it, you can blame anyone for the system that we're in, for the rules that we play, the game that you are forced to play. Being in America, we're forced to play this game no matter if you want to play or not. It's not optional. Okay? You can learn it, beat it, then leave the game, or you can refuse to accept that there's a game being played and just get swallowed up in it. Right? And at the end of the day, no one's going to come to save you. That's what we need to start doing as a generation. Start realizing no one's going to come to save us. We can only help each other. But first, we got to help ourselves. Okay? So let's start off. Number one, let's remember that time is on our side. Okay? Gen Z, young, if you're under 30, man, time is on your side. Okay? So number one, we got to build assets early. Okay? Because time is our real, it's the real only advantage that we have. Okay? So if you started investing, let's say $300 a month at age 22, you can hit, millionaire, whatever, by 60. Okay? But if you waited just 10 years until 32, you would need to put in $800 a month in order to catch up. Okay? Because that's the power of compound growth. That compound interest really grows at a rapid rate. And it's not all about being rich today. It's about starting early so that time does the heavy lifting, right? And assets are our way out. That is your plane ticket out of this. Stocks, index funds, real estate, even having your own business, any kind of asset, crypto, it doesn't matter. That is the real key. Number two, let's avoid lifestyle creep, right? When you get a raise, don't inflate your lifestyle. Lock in that cheap rent that you have early, right? Keep it where you're at. If you're in a good spot, stay there. Stay with your parents a little longer. Have the roommates for a little bit longer, right? Drive that same car that you have a little bit longer. Bank the difference, right? Think of it like a cheat code. If you live like you're broke while making decent money, you can stack assets quick. It's so fast. Do not let the lifestyle creep get to you. Number three, we got to understand and master credit. Credit is so crucial in this game, right? Because your credit score isn't just a number, but it's a literal financial cheat code. Okay? High credit equals low interest, which equals thousands saved, right? Even a 1% lower rate on like a car loan or a mortgage loan can save you tens of thousands of dollars over time. Okay? Just make sure you keep your credit utilization under 30%, pay it on time. If you can, get added as like an authorized users on someone's good credit line if you don't have like that credit history yet. It's a literal free score boost. I made a whole credit card series basically getting you into credit cards, mastering your credit, right? It's a cheat code. You have to master it. Don't think you can pay everything in cash. That's not the way. You master credit, you master debt, you get paid for that. I pay everything on a credit card and I get 2 to 5% back. Free money every single month, and I pay it off every single month. I spend what I was already going to spend, but then I get that additional 2 to 5%. Stuff adds up. It adds up. Now, number 4, I want you to treat debt like it's a fire. Okay? Because there's 2 kinds of debts. You have good debt, you have bad debt. Good debt, I would consider like a mortgage. Okay? Or like a loan to start a business. Okay, something that can make you money is good debt. Bad debt, credit cards, car loans, payday loans, student loans, and anything that just keeps you poor, right? Strategy with this, use the avalanche method, right? You kill the high interest debt first, then you snowball your way down, right? So the faster you can kill bad debt, the faster you get your freedom back. If this means picking up a part-time job to pay off the debt, why would you not do it? Dedicate 6 months to get out of this. Okay? If you find yourself in high credit card debt, you're getting chased, like 25, 30% in interest. You got to kill that first. And some people think it's okay having a car loan. My opinion, I say no car loan. If you want to build credit, you get about a $10K car loan. So let's say you want a $20,000 car, right? My situation, $20,000 car. You save $10K to put down, and then that $10K loan you get because it's good for building your credit. Okay? Because just having a credit card, having 2-3 credit cards, and you have like a 780 credit score, it isn't good enough, right? You need something with more density to it. So a 10K loan, you do 36 months. I'm telling you what I did. 36 months. If you can ask if you can pay this off sooner, right? So sometimes they allow you to only pay like 18 to 24 months, and then you can pay the rest off, right? Because they don't want you to take out that 36-month loan and then you pay it off tomorrow, and then they don't get any interest off that, which is why either they'll make you wait half the term or they make you wait the full. So you do that and make sure you have the money, right? And pay it off. Treat it like fire. ASAP. You have to get it done. Number 5, build multiple income streams. Okay? Because one paycheck just isn't going to cut it anymore. Period. You need to build cash flow outside of your 9 to 5. Either it's with freelancing, online businesses, investing, a side hustle that actually scales, part-time gig, doesn't matter. Think of income streams like armor. The more you have, the one less setback that can actually hurt you. So, if you're so reliant on this one paycheck, this one source, if it gets cut off, your whole world is literally going to be flipped upside down, right? You need this backup plan because in today's time, we're seeing that job loyalty just isn't there. They'll cut you off for anything. These jobs want a 2-week notice, but they're going to give you a 2-day notice that you won't be having a job anymore, right? So you can't think of these jobs that they're always going to be there for you. I had to learn this the hard way. Don't want you to either, but just know one paycheck is not it. And now last one, number 6, you can beat inflation with having ownership. Okay? So not having your money just sit in like a regular checking or savings account, because this is causing you to lose value every single year because inflation is just going to eat it alive, right? You need ownership of something. Stocks, you can average 8-10% returns, but not even just there. Real estate, and it's not just the appreciation part of it, but that rental income, something worthwhile, something with asset value, something that appreciates and doesn't depreciate, is how you can do this with ownership. Bottom line, just make your money work harder than you do. And then quickly, I want to go over how we can kind of future proof to like protect ourselves not only today, but later down the line. Okay. Like you want to set yourself up now. And then once you do that, you want this to last, right? Next 10, 20, 30 plus years. Okay. So first thing you need to do, you need to invest in skills, right? If you're not making enough money now, you need to invest in yourself with skills, right? So high income skills like sales, tech, finance, something that gives you leverage and no one can take it away from you. I like the trade jobs a lot. I feel like trades is coming back in style. Honestly, if you didn't go to college and you have no desire to, I wouldn't. Trades, honestly, I got my CDL. That's what I would recommend. If you're starting from ground zero, you're like you're working at a restaurant or some dead end job like that, Amazon, get your CDL, man. Like there really is no excuse not to get it. It's easier on your body. You make good money and you can learn a side skill with this. Like driving, honestly, I listen to so many hours of like podcasts and videos and stuff about like crypto. Like I know so much about crypto, and it also helped me learn a lot about finance too, to be honest, is because of driving that truck. Like the past 2 years, I learned so much then than what the 15 years I was in school, right? So that's just one part, right? Just invest in skills, invest in yourself. Now, next, don't chase scams, right? These get rich quick things, that are promising quick money. You see it all the time, right? Crypto pumps, NFTs, whatever like overpriced side hustle course that you're seeing online from these gurus is literally going to bleed you dry. Do not. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And don't be a fool of it. And next, you want to plan for bad situations, right? It's always hope for the best, expect for the worst, right? Plan for recessions. And recessions, they kind of average to happen every decade. Now, I don't think the last bad one was really since like 2008, because they just kept pumping money into the system that it keeps going up and up and up, whatever, right? I made a video on the recessions, my opinion, everything like that. But regardless, a recession is bound to happen. I think it's going to be sooner rather than later. But even if it doesn't happen next year, it's probably going to happen in the next 5 years, next 10 years. You have to plan for this, right? And this is when they transfer wealth from the panicked to the prepared, right? And do not be the panicked one. Do not be the one seeing red in your stock portfolio. You start selling, right? Because you think it's going all to zero. Because as soon as you sell, the next day, everything's going to be pumping back up. It's going to be up 20, 30, 50% again. And then you're going to get caught buying at the top and you're going to get fooled, right? Do not. The impatient always loses to the patient when it comes to, investing and stuff like that. So just plan for recessions. I'm planning on it right now. Like you can watch the recession video I posted. Like I'm cash ready. I want this stuff to crash, man. I want it to crash. I want to have an opportunity like 2008 crash did. And then people got stupid wealthy. Stupid. Like, oh. But regardless, my last point, I want you to just think long term. I know it's so hard in today's age. You can't even sit to watch a long video, If you're watching this video, like you are the minority, honestly, because the majority of kids now is literally just on short form content, Instagram, TikTok, whatever, right? And that's what I fear, if they can't sit and watch like a 10-minute educational video, or even something like mine, where I'm going 20 plus minutes and stuff like that. are they really going to be thinking long term? You have to think long term. I know it's so hard because we're so young, we have so much energy, but the truth is, wealth isn't built in 6 months, right? It's built over 6, 10, 20 years, right? And this consistency is what's going to beat hype every single time. You get this compound interest that just keeps going and going and going, and you get into a flow. And over the years, think long term, years, you will be successful. You have to think long term. All right, so this is just my take, honestly, like the raw truth on it. I really believe Gen Z we're set up to be the poorest generation. You know, the numbers do not lie. When you have stagnant wages, you have inflation that's through the roof, costs are crazy, the debt is just spiraling out of control. You know, I just don't want to be the one that's complaining with no solution, right? That doesn't have to be your story. It doesn't have to be my story, because, you know, unless you do these killer things that I was going over, you know, like the not building your assets, having lifestyle creep, having all this debt, like you do all this, you're screwed, you know. But if you can just flip the script, go against what the majority of people are doing, because this is the majority, right? Lifestyle creep, debt, all that stuff, not owning assets. If you do the opposite of the majority are doing, you're part of the minority just for listening to content like this. You can turn literally the poorest generation into the richest one. Okay? You can build wealth in a system that's literally stacked against us. And that's what I wanted to provide here. We all know that the system isn't fair. It never was. But being fair, what's right, what's wrong, it doesn't matter. Okay? What matters is just playing smarter than the ones that set these rules for us. Right? Because majority of people are still blind to this game. Right? You got to think it's a game being played. Okay? You can accept that you're in this game and get out of it, or you can be, you know, one of the people that are just blind to the fact, and obviously you pay the price for it. You get wrapped up in exactly what the system wants you to be wrapped up in. They want you to be a slave to the system. They don't want you to be able to freely think, freely free your mind, be able to do that. Because when you're so trapped in worrying about like where your next dollar is going to come from, you're stuck in the rat race. You don't have time to think for yourself. Okay? So that was the whole point of this video. Okay? To learn the new rules. I appreciate you listening. Other than that, I'm out.